tender caress to bind our fortunes. Damn what the stars are, rend my heart open, then your love profess, a winding, weaving fate to which we both atone. You flee, my dream come the morning, your scent, berry star, lilac sweet, to dream raven locks and twisted stormy of violet eyes glistening as you weep.
The story of the witcher Geralt of Rivia and the sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg is incredible. It's a story of opposites, a story of sadness and happiness, a story of love and contempt, a story of calm and passion, a story of pride and compassion, a story of contradictions and understanding, a story of mistakes and determination, a story of attraction, a story of rejection, a story of insanity. Hey everyone, the old Witcher is here to tell you about this roller coaster of a love story. Make sure you hit the like button and the bell and subscribe to our channel. We would also appreciate greatly if you guys chose to support us on Patreon and or YouTube sponsor program if you feel like it. This will allow us to make some quality videos on the Witcher universe more often. Anyways, let's get started. Meeting each other. Their first meeting was spontaneous and extremely strange. It could have never happened at all because there was nothing that could have led to it at first. As it often happens, everything was decided by a terribly unlikely chance. It all started when Geralt of Rivia once again had nothing to eat. Hunger had accompanied the White Wolf for the past few days. Orders for monsters appeared less and less often, and the meager payment for this work was usually used to buy ingredients, medicines, and mending equipment. Geralt arrived in Rind, where he found his old friend, the poet Dandelion. But he was also broke, and in order to eat something, the Witcher and the Bard got some fishing rods and went fishing. The weather was good, the fishing went good as well, and the friends didn't have to wait long. A huge catfish took the simple bait of a dead crow. The fishermen were already imagining what the soup from this fish would taste like, but due to carelessness, the string of the fishing rod broke, notwithstanding the weight of the catfish. Disappointment was boundless, but suddenly the second rod bit. The hope for another potentially tasty catch, however, died before it was born. The hook caught on a shapeless pile of seaweed and some debris. With nothing to do, Dandelion started digging through what he had pulled out, and suddenly pulled out some ancient vessel. The famous poet had heard tales of jinns who granted wishes, but Geralt knew that such antiquities were nothing but trouble. He tried to take the vessel away from Dandelion before he did something stupid, and during the fuss, the vessel fell to the ground, the seal covering it broke, and a real djinn came out. Geralt was dumbfounded, but Dandelion, having quickly recovered from the shock, began making wishes. The first one, the second one, both of them being more stupid than he could think of, and then he suddenly wheezed in pain. Long arms emerged from the shapeless haze and began to strangle the Bard. Dandelion would have died like that if Geralt had not chopped the djinn with his silver sword, while shouting a spell in a strange language that he had once heard, but the meaning of which he did not even understand. The djinn howled frantically and disappeared over the horizon, while Dandelion fell at Geralt's feet, senseless and with severe burns on his neck. The Bard had to be tended to. Geralt took Dandelion as quickly as possible to the nearest town, Rind. There he met the settled elves Círdan and Erdil, and they in return advised the Witcher to turn to a certain sorceress, Yennefer of Vengerberg, who recently arrived in the city and was a guest of a local merchant. There was no choice, and the Witcher headed for the merchant's house. She was there, and he saw her, beautiful but far from perfect, naked, mesmerizing, and incredibly confident. The Witcher smelled a strange and enticing odor and immediately identified it as lilac and gooseberry. The sorceress had been playing Geralt from the first minute of their meeting, messing with his feelings and thoughts, making him look at herself, studying him, reaching into the deepest recesses of his soul, working out a plan on how to best to use him to her advantage. She made him look away in embarrassment, and then she tried to attract his gaze without a drop of bashfulness. And Geralt, he thought she was a narcissist, a calculating witch, an unscrupulous and immoral person, a sorceress incapable of feelings, an nymphomaniac who reveled in her beauty, just like all the other sorceresses. Unfortunately, he realized how wrong he was much later. Yennefer moved to Dandelion with the Witcher, who disliked portals terribly. Right away, she started dictating terms. Yes, she did help the bard, but she did it in her own interests. The djinn trap was ready. Dandelion served as bait. And Geralt? Well, he had to be punished for his insolence, severely taught a lesson for impermissible thoughts. Yennefer knew what he thought she was, and it infuriated the sorceress greatly. She cast a spell on Geralt, made him crawl on his knees. She took control of his body and mind and ordered him to go to the city. Geralt served as the perfect weapon, for Yennefer ordered him to teach a lesson to those who spread vile rumors about her in the city. Stupefied by the spell, he did that. He beat up several noble citizens of Rind, and then, when the spell weakened, he was captured and thrown into the pit for criminals. Then the guards came to the pit. Those nobles, whom the mind control Geralt had beaten in the name and by order of Yennefer, paid the soldiers, and the thugs gave the Witcher, who didn't resist, a good beating. The Witcher whispered the wish that one of the thugs had burst before receiving another blow to the stomach, and the guard suddenly bloated, gurgled, and really burst, splashing everyone with a bloody mess of innards. Geralt was incredibly surprised at first, but then he realized everything. It turned out that it wasn't actually Dandelion who was the master of the djinn. On the shore, Geralt managed to take the magic vessel from the bard before it opened. It was the Witcher who made the wishes. And over there, on the shore, it wasn't an incantation in a strange language that Geralt shouted. He did not understand the meaning of those words, but in fact, the Witcher had commanded the djinn literally to get out of here and make love to himself. It is unclear how the djinn accomplished this task that turned out to be Geralt's first wish, but the fact that the djinn later arrived in Rind again and nearly destroyed the city suggested that he was incredibly pissed off. Geralt's second wish was for the guard to burst, and then the djinn came to Rind for the third wish. For after the fulfillment of this wish, he could be free and go to his plane of existence. Yennefer had only one goal: to catch the djinn. The sorceress wanted only one thing: to find a way to get pregnant, because she was infertile due to magic. She had tried everything in her life, and the last possible option was a djinn who would fulfill her wish. But did she know that the djinn was bound not to Dandelion, but Geralt? Before starting the magical battle with the djinn, Yennefer freed Dandelion and transported him through a portal to Geralt. Using the remnants of the portal with the help of Crab the cleric, Geralt found his way to the sorceress and found her in quite a pitiful state. Even with all her power, Yennefer could not control the djinn. She still believed that Dandelion was the one who made wishes, and she did not understand why the air djinn remained so powerful. Geralt tried to help Yennefer, but she didn't listen to him. An argument broke out between the sorceress and the Witcher, while the djinn kept getting closer to the sorceress, threatening to destroy everything around him. And it was only at the last moment when Geralt recognized that it was him who freed the djinn, had power over him, and had one last wish left. Suddenly he saw Yennefer real, as she was originally, before she changed her body with the help of magic, a poor hunchback girl, whom her parents gave to the School of Magic only to get rid of the ugly one as soon as possible. He was amazed, and suddenly, despite Yennefer's pleas, he shouted out his last wish, and the djinn granted it and disappeared. The storm had subsided. All that was left was the two of them, the clear sky and the strong smell of lilac and gooseberries. "Wait," she whispered, "that wish of yours. I heard what you wished for. I was astounded, simply astounded. I'd have expected anything but to... What made you do it, Geralt? Why? Why me?" "Don't you know? Your wish," she whispered, her lips very near his ear. "I don't know whether such a wish can ever be fulfilled. I don't know whether there's such a force in nature that could fulfill such a wish. But if there is, then you've condemned yourself to me." And then the two of them were together, under the vault of the djinn-damaged roof, not noticing anyone else around them, and they didn't need anyone else. No one will ever know exactly what Geralt of Rivia's wish was, and only one thing is certain: he had forever tied his fate to the sorceress named Yennefer of Vengerberg, and so their paths met for the first time like this. Resentment, passion, and destiny.
The wolf I will follow into the storm to find find your heart, its passion displaced by our ever-growing, hardening into stone, amidst the cold to hold you in a heated embrace. You flee, my dream come the morning, your scent berries tart, lilac sweet, to dream of raven locks and twisted stormy, or violet eyes glistening as you weep.
The feelings between Geralt and Yennefer were so strong and sudden that the Witcher simply could not bear the weight of them. He had left the black-haired sorceress a few months after the events in Rind. He abandoned her and continued his life as a lonely traveler, an emotionless monster slayer. However, he had never forgotten her. Anyways, for the first time in her life, Yennefer got dumped by a man. Just like her parents had once abandoned her, she could not forgive that, at least not right away. They hadn't seen each other for 4 years, and for all 4 years they had not disturbed each other with a word. Geralt had been with many other women, and even many other sorceresses, and Yennefer had also sought solace in other relationships, but eventually destiny brought them together once again. During the hunt for the Golden Dragon, Geralt and Yennefer had to work together. After an unbelievable twist, during which Geralt almost died and Yennefer was about to be raped by the Crinfrid Reavers, they got back together. They met Borg 3 Jackdaws, who actually turned out to be the Golden Dragon named Villentretenmirth. And then they realized that they just couldn't forget about the feelings that still bound them together. They realized that their fates were inextricably intertwined. For a few months after that, the Witcher and the sorceress lived together, and then they parted ways again. In fact, it's a wonder they lasted as long as they did. The characters of these two, their personalities, just didn't allow them to compromise too often, and finding these compromises is a key part of any relationship. The reasons for their breakup were both complex and quite trivial. Geralt and Yennefer stayed in the town of Ginvale, where the sorceress had to meet a certain wizard named Istrid. The Witcher had been doing his usual Witcher work at this time, but after a few days he realized that something was wrong. Yennefer was hiding something. Geralt went to see Istrid, and a conversation began, which didn't turn out in a very pleasant way at all. The wizard claimed that he loved Yennefer, that he was bound to her, and that he was a much better match for her. He suggested that the Witcher disappeared from Yennefer's life. Geralt naturally disagreed to this. The conversation became real tense and degenerated into a routine altercation that ended not at all in the Witcher's favor. "Enough!" Geralt interrupted sharply, perhaps too sharply. "Stop denying that I have rights. I'm sick of it, do you hear? I said that our rights are equal. No, damn it! Mine are greater." "Really?" The magician paled slightly, to Geralt's great pleasure. "Why is that?" The Witcher thought for a moment and decided to finish it. "Because," he burst out, "last night she made love with me and not you." Istrid picked up the skull, stroking it. His hand, to Geralt's annoyance, was not even shaking. "According to you, that affords you some rights?" "Only one, the right to draw conclusions." "Uh-huh," the magician said slowly. "Fine. Well, she made love with me this morning. You have the right to draw your own conclusions. I know I already did." The silence lasted a long time. Geralt desperately sought an answer. He could not find one. The Witcher left, and then there was a conversation with Yennefer. The sorceress made it clear that she could not choose between Istrid and Geralt, saying that they were both precious to her, and she needed them both. And to Geralt came the realization that only one of them should remain in Yennefer's life. It just could not be otherwise. Geralt found Istrid again, and they agreed to a fair duel in which only one would survive. A duel over the woman. Both Istrid and Geralt agreed that the situation was as foolish as it could ever be, but neither was willing to back down. They agreed on a time and place. They got there, but the battle was never meant to be fought. The sorceress had decided everything for them. Geralt learned that Istrid had received a letter from Yennefer, telling him that she was leaving him. The Witcher knew his loved one too well, and already realized that the same letter was waiting for him. He couldn't wait to read it, so he simply left Istrid alone, refusing to fight him. This time the sorceress decided to simply not choose. The letter lay on the pillow of their room in the inn. The Witcher only smiled when he saw it, so Geralt and Yennefer separated for the second time. No decision, however, could make their paths part forever. The bonds of destiny were too strong. The Witcher and the sorceress always remembered each other and mentally searched for each other. Thus, they found each other exactly 1 year, 2 months, and 18 days after parting ways in Eidginvale. The Witcher remembered this date, for he counted each day. On the feast of Beltane, on Yennefer's birthday, for exactly 1 night, they became together again. That night belonged to them. They made love to each other. But in the morning they parted ways again and went on with their ordinary lives, not hoping to meet again, but realizing that in the end it was inevitable.
I know not if fate would have us live as one, or if by love's blind chance we've been bound. The wish I whispered when it all began, did it forge a love you might never have found? You flee, my dream, come the morning. Your scent, berry star, lilac sweet. To dream of raven locks and twisted stormy, of violet eyes glistening as you weep.
Great things awaited them. The Witcher had to find a girl named Ciri, and the sorceress had a bloody battle waiting for her on Sodden Hill. Destiny continued to play its game and tied together completely different people. The kinless Witcher, the powerful sorceress, the Lioness of Sintra, and many other, more or less minor figures. But that is a whole other story and a whole other video. Well, that is all for today. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video and do subscribe to the channel. Write in the comments if you like this format of narration. Does this video need a sequel to tell the story of Geralt and Yennefer's relationship after the battle on Sodden Hill? Or maybe we should tell you guys the story of Geralt's relationships with other women, Fringilla Vigo, Triss Merigold, Coral, Shani, Essie Devon, or maybe someone else? Still, the complex love affairs in The Witcher are just as important as the monster hunts. Write about it, and also click on the bell to not miss the next Witcher Universe videos. And a special kudos to our newest patron. Welcome to the family, and thank you for supporting us. And see you soon when the old Witcher speaks once more.